From KTIV, Siouxland's news channel, this is News 4 Live at 5.
To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency.
President Trump today declares that national emergency over the coronavirus pandemic, capping a week of extraordinary changes. Good evening, everyone. I'm Matt Breen. Stella is off tonight. Monday, we reported there were about 10 cases of COVID-19 coronavirus spread across the states of Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Minnesota. Over the past 4 days, that number has more than quadrupled. Here's how things look tonight. Including presumptive positive cases, Iowa now has 17 cases of COVID-19. That includes the most recent cases in Carroll and Harrison counties in western Iowa. Nebraska has 13 cases, including 2 new cases in Douglas County. South Dakota and Minnesota both report 9 cases. In total, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports over 1,600 cases of COVID-19 across the country and over 40 total deaths. It's for that reason that today President Trump declared a national emergency to address the spread of the virus. The president's move mobilizes the same kind of aid that's used to respond to natural disasters like hurricanes. It unleashes up to $50 billion in aid.
To set up emergency operation centers effective immediately. I'm also asking every hospital in this country to activate its emergency preparedness plan so that they can meet the needs of Americans everywhere.
Meanwhile, the partial travel ban for people traveling to the U.S. from Europe goes into effect tonight at midnight, further restricting movement to and from the U.S. Top health official Dr. Anthony Fauci says after a slow start, U.S. testing capabilities are now ramping up with help from the private sector. Accelerated testing could mean many more confirmed cases. Dr. Fauci says a crackdown on public gatherings will help. President Trump has declared 5 other national emergencies while he was in office. Most of those declarations pertain to sanctions. The exception, the president's February 15, 2019 declaration of a national emergency on the U.S. border. So what does a national emergency really mean? It's a situation in which a government is empowered to perform actions that are not normally permitted. The National Emergencies Act empowers the president to activate special powers in a crisis. Some emergency powers can be assumed by the executive declaration, but more dramatic powers require congressional approval. Today, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem ordered a state of emergency as a proactive measure in response to the COVID-19 outbreak. As part of that state of emergency declaration, Noem has instructed public schools statewide to close for at least 1 week. Meanwhile, she's encouraging the state's private schools to take the same measures. Noem said the week will allow schools to clean their facilities and then prepare for the following week. Meanwhile, she said she'll be executing an executive order for state employees to allow non-essential staff to work remotely. She said protecting residents in her state is her top priority.
Well, I would just say that we have, for weeks, this has been our number one priority. This is not just my job. This is my life, my family, my friends, the people that I've spent my entire life with. So we are spending every single moment doing and making proactive decisions to make sure that we're taking care of the people of South Dakota.
Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts said his state would look into shutting down schools for 6 to 8 weeks, only if the virus would spread throughout the state. Governor Ricketts said that decision to close the schools would only come if the virus impacts 1% of residents. That would mean roughly 19,000 people would have to have COVID-19. Right now, the state has just 13 confirmed cases. But because the state doesn't have enough tests to test 19,000 people, they're making decisions based off of community spread. Community spread, by the way, is when cases of the virus are identified, but then can't be traced back to their original source.
When we think about things like closing schools, what we're really doing is trying to protect the health of the elderly, their grandparents, for example, or people with underlying medical conditions, because those people are also at risk.
All 13 confirmed cases in Nebraska have been tied back to travel history. Just moments ago, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds held a news conference to update Iowans on the spread of COVID-19. She announced there is now 1 additional case in the Hawkeye State. That person is a resident of Harrison County in western Iowa, and it brings the statewide total to 17 cases. Reynolds says all cases are travel-related, 15 related to the very same cruise to Egypt. She also announced that 10 people who are in quarantine will be back home tonight. At this point, schools statewide will stay open.